You don't procrastinate because you're lazy. You procrastinate because starting feels heavy. For any difficult task, your brain runs a prediction. It doesn't ask, is this important? It asks, how uncomfortable will this feel? And if the predicted discomfort is high, avoidance wins. This happens before you consciously decide anything. Procrastination is not a time management problem. It's an emotional regulation problem. The brain avoids tasks that create uncertainty, self-doubt, boredom, or effort. And the longer you delay, the heavier the task feels, because now it carries guilt. This is where the 5-minute rule changes everything. The 5-minute rule is simple. Commit to doing the task for only 5 minutes, not finishing it. Not doing it well. Not being productive, just 5 minutes. Your brain reacts differently to small commitments. 5 minutes doesn't feel threatening. It doesn't trigger resistance. It feels manageable. That's the psychological trick. You shrink the starting cost, you bypass avoidance. Most people think motivation creates action. The psychology shows the opposite is true. Action creates motivation. Once you begin a task, even for a few minutes, your brain shifts from anticipation mode to engagement mode. This activates dopamine, not from reward, but from progress. Dopamine is released when the brain detects forward movement, and progress reduces resistance. There's another powerful mechanism at work. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. The brain dislikes unfinished tasks. Once you begin something, your mind wants closure. Starting creates psychological tension, and tension pulls you forward. That's why 5 minutes often turns into 20. 20 turns into an hour. But even if it doesn't, even if you stop after 5 minutes, you've broken the avoidance loop. You've trained your brain to see the task as survivable. The biggest mistake people make is negotiating with themselves. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel clear. They wait to feel motivated. But motivation rarely comes before action. It comes after movement. The 5-minute rule works because it removes identity pressure. You're not trying to be disciplined. You're not trying to fix your life. You're simply starting. Starting is small, but starting rewires belief. Each time you begin, despite resistance, you weaken avoidance pathways, strengthen execution pathways. Neuroscience calls this habit loop reinforcement. Your brain builds familiarity around initiation, and familiarity reduces fear. Procrastination feeds on ambiguity. 5 minutes removes ambiguity, creates a boundary. Your brain doesn't have to imagine 2 hours of suffering. It only has to tolerate 5 minutes. Another reason this works is because it reframes effort. When you tell yourself you must complete everything, the task becomes heavy. Completion is intimidating, but 5 minutes feels neutral. It feels harmless. And harmless actions are easier to repeat. There's also a deeper emotional reason procrastination happens. Avoidance protects your ego. If you never start, you never fail. If you delay, you maintain potential. Starting risks imperfection. But the 5-minute rule lowers the emotional stakes. You're not committing to excellence. You're committing to exposure. And exposure builds tolerance. This method is not about productivity hacks. It's about retraining your brain's relationship with effort. Right now, your brain associates certain tasks with discomfort. We are teaching it that discomfort is temporary and survivable. But there's one critical rule. You must start immediately after deciding. No countdown, no preparation ritual. No after this video, decision gives action. The longer you wait, the more resistance grows. Action shrinks fear. Delay grows it. And here's something important. Do not aim for 5 perfect minutes. Aim for 5 imperfect minutes. Messy work counts, half-focused effort counts, slow progress counts. The goal is initiation, not optimization. Perfectionism fuels procrastination. Imperfect action kills it. Over time, the 5-minute rule becomes identity reinforcement. You stop being someone who tries to start. You become someone who always begins. Beginning is power, because most people never do. There will still be resistance. Your brain will still prefer comfort. But resistance loses strength when repeatedly challenged. Every small start weakens it. Eventually, tasks that once felt overwhelming feel normal. That's neural adaptation. You didn't become more motivated. You became less avoidant. There's a difference. Motivation fluctuates. Avoidance patterns can be rewired. The 5-minute rule is not dramatic. won't change your life in one day, but repeated daily. It changes your relationship with effort, and your relationship with effort determines your trajectory. The key is consistency. 5 minutes every day beats 2 hours. Once a week, small action beats grand planning. Initiation beats intention. You don't need more motivation. You need smaller entry points. 5 minutes is enough to begin, and beginning is enough to change direction.